Happy Wednesday, friends, and welcome to Aquarius Behavior, a best friends podcast. Hey, ABPOD listeners. This original recording was overflowing with scrumptious content, so we decided to spread out the entertainment. Enjoy Blood Moon Part 1 and tune in next week for the epic conclusion.
Are you ready?
Oh my God, I'm happy right now.
Look at it. Are you finding awe and wonder?
Yeah. I would say there's definitely a little bit of wonder here. For sure.
Like wondering why we're sitting on my deck in the cold.
Oh my gosh, dude. Welcome. Welcome to Aquarius Behavior.
Oh,
Because this is what it looks like.
Aquarius Behavior, where we wake up at 2:45 in the morning, or in your case, don't go to sleep at all, so that we can have
Dude, I'm really excited we're podcasting right now, and I didn't go to sleep. Instead, I laid in bed and I flipped through TikTok, because now I'm a TikTok junkie, and that's who I am now.
Tell me about your TikTok adventures.
Dude, I have a lot of videos that I'll need to show you later. But okay, so now TikTok has an algorithm for me, as I told you, but also something. So, okay, it consists, let me back up. So this consists of, a lot of really good looking people making really nice content about just being kind to people.
Gentle to yourself.
Yeah. And having, healthy boundaries and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, look at you all. So just following all those people. And then also because, I started looking up a lot of lunar eclipse stuff today in preparation for this, literally, in the last
18 hours.
18 hours.
Yeah, I would say
when I text you yesterday morning, it was like, hey, did you know there's a lunar eclipse? What if we watched it? Do you think that would be fun?
Would that be a fun time? For us to wake up in the middle, to explain to our fiancés, well, here's why. Here's why best friend time is happening at the witching hour.
Yeah, it is the witching hour. So thank you. Because also, as I told you, I texted my fiancé and said, hey, Sam and I are going to watch the eclipse. And here's what we're going to do. And I'm going to wake up this time and do all this stuff. And I sent him this long paragraph. And then I quickly sent him another text. And I said, do you want to watch the eclipse too? And he quickly replied, no, he did not. Which I didn't think that he would. Mm-hmm. But I also, was like, hey, you could come along. This is a memory you could be a part of. But, we're also going to be podcasting, so I can't pay attention to you at that time. But
you can be in my area.
I love you, and you can be in my area, yes, as Blackpink would be. And he very quickly was like, no, not for me. So
this is a Morgan adventure.
Yeah, it's a Morgan and Samantha adventure. It's an Aquarius adventure.
This is the kind of Aquarius behavior that I'm looking to attract more of in my life. And I yelled about it earlier, but I think this podcast is just a fantastic. Ooh, is your coffee good?
I'm sorry. Yeah. I interrupted you because I took a sip of my coffee.
We should have taken a coffee moment. It's not Diet Mountain Dew right now. It's a coffee moment.
It was that was way too exaggerated. No, it's very cloudy, so we can't see the eclipse. But
we can't see it.
Okay, I'm sorry. We just also jumped into stuff.
Because it's Aquarius behavior.
I know.
I'm just so thrilled that this chaotic energy is being attracted into our lives now, because
I am too.
Old Samantha, you'd have been like, hey, maybe a lunar eclipse ? And we would have then maybe either slept through our alarms because we didn't have the system down, or we just would have said maybe not. So when you reached out, it was just like, yes. Yes, not only because we have a podcast now,
boom,
but
yes.
Best friend energy, memories forever. This is the stuff where it's like, hey,
yes,
remember where we woke up early in the morning?
Yep.
And boom, best friend time.
We're making a memory. When people talk about how they want to make memories together, Samantha, and then right now is the memory. It's happening. Yeah.
Right now.
So, okay. So now let's be podcasters and pretend that we're podcasters.
Yeah, here we go. We're professionally podcasting.
So
I'm just gonna quick take a picture of you because
it's so cute. I'll pose with my coffee. Okay. It's super cute.
Thank you.
Yeah,
because now a year from now, I can snap you and say, hey, guess what? Remember a year ago it was blood moon.
Okay, which also sidebar before we get into being podcasters, yes, because our entire life is just about, conversational railroads and
oh yeah, no, we already have started the root system of we're gonna have to backtrack.
I can't even. So also, I just want you to be aware that Mars is in retrograde right now, which means that communication is going to be a little wonky. You're going to learn more about that in the packet we'll go through later that I created for this podcast. My 22 slide presentation. But I just want you to know that because I need some grace today while we're recording.
Oh.
Because my brain is a big pile of mush, and I'm just here to have fun and have a good time. So cheers to us.
Cheers to us.
And this coffee, right? Am I right?
Raise a coffee or whatever is in your cup.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, Morgan. I have a truckload of grace ready to just back up. Because when you snapped me then came over yesterday and we started chatting and you said, oh no, I've already planned everything. I already made a PowerPoint presentation.
I would like to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you for a moment.
Good.
Because I'd like you to back up and let's start at the very beginning. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Julie Andrews, treasure. Oh my gosh, I love you. Come on our show.
Let's focus up. Let's focus up.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So let's first start off. Okay. First of all, this is a podcast, Aquarius Behavior, a best friends podcast.
It's a best friends podcast.
And we just do random things. I'm Morgan.
I'm Samantha.
And we hang out every Wednesday.
Yep.
It's tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And we just update each other on our lives. Sometimes we talk about things that we're excited about, that are trending in the moment for us. And this morning, we're watching the lunar eclipse, the blood moon. And so we're having a very chaotic and Aquarius experience, I think, that we've built for ourselves. And so we are currently sitting on your deck outside and you have all these twinkle lights. You and your fiance did such a cute job out here. And so it's so perfect. Like we have this beautiful glow. We have 3 wick candles.
Yep.
So that's 3 times 6. You do the math.
Can't.
It's just a million in abundance of flames. It's too early to do math.
It's too early to do math.
I'm going to pull out a calculator.
It's also, let's pour some out for our morning voices because I haven't met this 3 a.m. voice for a very long time.
Oh, no. She's like, I'm having like flashbacks to high school and pulling all-nighters and stuff right now. It's super fun. Okay, so
we have our 6 candles.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're both bundled up. It is currently 49 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's not even bad.
No, I brought this out I brought a little thermometer so we could keep track throughout the night.
See that you had your science instruments over there. I continue to be so impressed by your preparation.
Remember when I said that I was going to lead this podcast tonight?
This is amazing player one situation.
Oh, I got you, girl. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to have such a great time.
It's just like gifts on gifts.
Okay. So anyways, so that's what we're doing right now. But Sam, do you want to take a couple minutes here to just like tell us how we got here? Because it's still overcast and it's fine because we've got like, I don't know.
Oh, we have another like 2 hours of things and we already glimpsed it.
And it's not even going to hit. Well, no, because it's not going to hit peak red until like 30 minutes from now.
Okay.
And then it'll be red for about 30 to 45 minutes. So no, like we're super good on timing. So yeah, girl, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about this chaotic adventure we're on. How did we get here? Set us up.
First of all, like, wow, the coffee's hitting, body's awake. Okay. So I was so excited to, get your snap the other morning and the journey began. And then we connected yesterday afternoon to have some workshopping fun time because you said, I have prepared a 22 slide presentation and we're going to talk about the blood moon tonight. So this is what's happening. I'm player oneing this. And so for me, Samantha, I'm so excited to sit back, but also lean in so you can hear my voice and receive this gift of knowledge, because I don't know a lot about it's. Okay, I took like astronomy in college.
Did you really?
That was
I never knew that.
Community college. And so it was in those years between the high school and the real college.
Yeah.
Where it didn't stick. Like, I got the books, didn't stick. So, like, I love and am intrigued by just all the facets of space. But my brain doesn't remember the details. So it's like every time we get on the subject, it's like, all right, let's relearn and learn new things. So I'm very excited to be gifted this information in the form of a podcast that we now have forever, which is just look at this hilarious and brilliant way that we have continued to just spike our friendship ball into the next realm of amazingness.
Friendship forever. Okay, well, that's amazing. Number one, thank you for that friendship gift right there.
Yeah.
I never knew that you took an astrology class. Was it astrology or astronomy?
Astronomy, but we talked about astrology because that's how I learned.
Okay, got it.
About the 13th sign, Ophiuchus. That throws off all of the stars for a different version of the chart, which made me super upset and mad, and I had to learn all about it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
No, this is a whole different thing, because then it makes me a Capricorn, and we can't even talk about that right now.
That's
I know.
False, though.
I know. So that's the thing. We're gonna have to go in and maybe break some myths, bust some things, because Aquarius behavior is like just the whole dang.
And let me just say, I'm not hating on the Capricorns, because I have a future sister-in-law who's a Capricorn. Love the Capricorns.
Yep.
Such value.
There
in the
is space.
Deep respect, deep love for Capricorns.
Space in this podcast for Capricorns.
But my identity is so deeply rooted in being an Aquarius.
Oh my goodness.
It's a little ridiculous. So, okay.
The river is deep and wide.
It is. Like, dude, we're gonna talk about some stuff tonight.
The ocean. The expanse. Wow. Unexplored spaces of depth.
And we're still cloudy. So
but here's the thing.
Whatever.
You know what, though? We know it's there.
It's there.
It's just right there.
It's right there.
And now.
And it will clear up in, 30 to 45 to 60 minutes. Who cares?
Almost 4 a.m. and now my body is just having a great time.
Okay, so do you want to get started on our packet?
Should we
touch what else do we have to talk about first? Well, let's take it. Where's our agenda? Agenda items.
Oh, agenda items.
Agenda items. Also, another thing, I'm going to be opening candy.
Oh, yeah. That's important.
Throughout this entire podcast. And I'm not going to apologize to the rappers because, I have tiny Butterfingers. And I really need that right now.
I think it's also important for people to know that we're just sprinkling in ASMR throughout this podcast. And this is for your ears. Our voices are for your ears.
Here's me crunching on a Butterfinger.
Ooh.
I'm laughing.
Quality content. I made eye contact with Morgan while she was really leaning into the microphone and making it happen.
I think there is something. There's just, I don't know. I need to talk about my obsession with Butterfingers right now.
You know what? Yeah. Let's stop everything.
Because now we're on the topic.
Back up.
So, okay.
Give me it.
First of all, if you're new, welcome to our podcast. This is how it's going to be. So, if you like this sort of thing, keep on listening.
Yep.
I'm Morgan. This is my best friend, Samantha.
What up?
And we hang out every Wednesday. If it's not your thing, that's okay. Good luck on your journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so Butterfingers. So, I don't know where this came from. And also, I learned that this is like one of your fiance's favorite candies.
Yes.
So, like, we had a friendship moment this weekend because I had something to offer him that was yummy and gave him joy. And I was like, yes, I do have Butterfingers. Come, friend. Dun, 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 dun.
So, here they are.
So, anyways, I don't know why this came about. My college roommate, whom you've met and you know, her favorite candy was also Butterfingers. So, like, there's been a lot of Butterfingers in my life, but I don't know. I just had a hankering, man. I'm all about these Butterfingers. It's just something about the texture. They get stuck in my teeth and they're just there. And then it's like second snack.
It's like a project.
And I like pick it out of my teeth and it's just sweet. And it kind of tastes like, you know, like that honeycomb candy that your dad would bring you back from business trips. It kind of tastes, it's like the poor man's version of that.
Yes.
Is what's in the Butterfinger covered in chocolate. And so it kind of like satisfies that.
And it's a later snack.
Yeah. And I miss Butterfinger BBs. Do you remember Butterfinger BBs?
Yes. That was such good movie theater candy.
Were we talking about that this weekend?
We were.
Yes.
We were yelling about chocolate this weekend. And the candy, they used to be just so good and so much better and so much bigger.
I love them.
Than it is now.
I mean,
the boxes of BBs.
You know,
my goodness.
Thank goodness, though, I did find these mini Butterfingers. Yeah. And so this is good because this will just fit in my mouth. But gall dang, please bring back the Butterfinger BBs. You know, hear my cry.
That's right.
I'm going to put this out into the universe because tonight we're manifesting things. It's a blood moon. There's a lot of like magic and wild things can happen. Energy. So I'm going to put it out there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So that was my tangent. I'm going to bring it back.
I'm glad that we talked about Butterfingers.
Thank you for giving me space for that.
Approved things on this podcast. Diet Mountain Dew. Butterfingers.
What is this not? Coffee. It's not a Butterfingers podcast.
This is not a Butterfingers podcast.
But we might talk about that. It is a best friends podcast. But we might talk about Butterfingers every now and then. Okay, so thanks for letting me get on that tangent. As always, we're going to bring it back now to the packet. Any other business, first of all, before we move on to the packet? Clearly, I had to talk about Butterfingers.
No, this is great. In front of me, I have a PowerPoint packet. Printed in color, 2 slides per page. I'm very excited for you to
and
take
double-sided
me on this
because I wanted to save as much paper as I could, but it was important to me that I printed something out and we had hard copies.
Well, this was our first real business printing, which was exciting.
Look at this. This is so cute.
Look at it.
All right. So, Samantha, would you please read just the first slide here?
Not only is it in color, but there's art. Wow. Aquarius behavior. Lunar eclipse. 11/8/2022. Wow. And there's a lot of cool constellations on the slide behind it.
Yeah.
It looks like bits.
I know.
I like it a lot.
I'm pretty sure it was just kind of like a geometric thing, but it
scratches the itch.
Looked like constellations to me. So thank you for noticing that because it's exactly why I picked it. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Wow. I appreciate that. Okay. So first thing, first impressions. So Sam, I want to know what comes up in your mind when you hear the word eclipse.
I mean, I'm immediately back reading Twilight.
I know you are. And let's talk about that. But, you can talk about it.
You know, what a catchy name for a book. But truly, that's where the word eclipse really is cornerstone in my life. But the eclipse, I have always been so fascinated and interested in the thing when it was happening. It was always like, oh, let's wake up and look at it, you know, when it was later or earlier. I've never done this in the middle of the night one, which is fantastic. But like, you know, meteor showers and all of that. It's the seeking of the astral journey that's happening. And so, eclipse. I mean, really, I'm just thinking of Robert Pattinson, but also the moon.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Well, and to be fair, like those books, like we're all, I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right? Is
new moon,
Twilight, new moon, eclipse,
midnight sun.
I mean, I don't know if that's a real thing, but maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? I
also like that we're wrapped in a bunch of layers like onions, so we can just readjust as we go.
I do keep readjusting and just kind of like repositioning. Yeah. Okay. So have you watched an eclipse before?
I can't specifically remember one at a time in my life, but I know that I've glimpsed it and been like, well, would you look at that? Would you look at it? Look at it. I feel like I've seen sun ones more than moon ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think I've mainly seen more. No, I think I've seen more moon ones. I have seen one eclipse, a pretty big one. Did I ever tell you about this when my fiance and I went to Colorado? And
I know you went
saw
there.
The eclipse.
I didn't know that you saw an eclipse.
Oh, dude, this was hilarious. So not the last time we were there, but, probably like 4 years ago. And that was the first big trip that he and I took together to go visit my family. And so we go out there and there's just a lot of people. And the start of the trip was chaotic. But also I found out he was an amazing travel partner because he's so flippin' calm, just Virgo energy, just calm waters. Mm-hmm. And so I got to freak out and be, all wiggly, and he's just there and he's the stable one. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. So anyways, so we get there to Colorado. We are in line to get our rental car. All of their computers were down. Their entire system was down for the day. These poor people. And so there is a huge line backed up. I mean, this place is packed. The entire, roped off area.
Is it where everyone picks up their rental cars and everything? So you're just in a sea of picking up
humans who don't know each other. Sea of humans. This is pre-COVID times, So, so everyone's just, squished in there like little sardines, and we're all trying to pick up our cars and return our cars and all this stuff. And these poor people who work there are just having the worst day of their lives. And some people were not very nice. And that's also when I learned that my fiance is just a kind-hearted person, and he is gentle and patient.
Yes, patient.
And yes, and he is also what's the word I'm trying to look for? Encouraging. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was so encouraging to these people, and he's just like, ugh, I've worked customer service, and like that sucks. Totally out of their control. Anyways,
the empathy.
Okay,
the empathy, the sympathy.
This is not a podcast about my fiance
or car rental places,
but sometimes I'm going to talk about how great he is too.
We're definitely going to talk about how great he is.
So, but the point of the story is it was just really wild, and there was just like an abnormal amount of people there, and we're just like, wow, just a wild, really busy, high frequency kind of weekend. And like, the people who worked at the car rental said that. And then since this was his first trip to Colorado, I wanted to show him around, and like I'm whining and dining him with my family, and like
a little shimmy.
Like I know I've got all these mental health issues and I'm a little wild, but
I'm going to twirl, but you're going to think it's cute.
I have some fun things to offer too. So anyways, so I bought tickets to go places and whatever. And so one of the things we did is we went on a cog railway up some of the mountains.
Did you say cog like?
Yeah. Like, oh, like, yeah, a railway, like a train, but it's cogs.
So,
because
like
it's on
gears?
A mountain. Correct.
Like gears?
Correct. Because it's on a mountain.
I literally thought my brain skipped out and did not comprehend the words you were saying. And that's why I looked at you in the eyes.
Yep.
Stricken almost.
Yeah.
Cog? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So it's just like you don't have to worry about the traction.
Correct.
Because it's locked in there.
Exactly.
Cool.
So
okay, continue.
I distinctly remember when I bought these tickets, I literally bought the last 2 tickets available that entire weekend. The last 2 tickets. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, what fortune. Just blessings from above. The universe smiles upon us.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then we get there, and again, just a lot of people. And we're like, this is wild. Turns out there was a solar eclipse that day. And it was like, I can't remember. And now I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't look this up before I told the story. I didn't realize I was going to tell it. So, but it was like a really huge solar eclipse, like the big one that happened about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember.
We should
and everybody was
wildly
talking about it.
make wild claims. Okay. Just absolutely. Morgan, why didn't you bring your research about your random story 4 years ago of the eclipse?
This is probably perfect because the point of the story is that my fiance and I had literally no idea. Like, we were just, that like totally just went right over both of our heads. And so we were just totally planning this trip to go see my family. Like, I think we were just probably so like just deep in our love at the time. And
about a year and a bit.
You know, oh my gosh, we're going to go on this trip and it's romantic. And then we missed out on like huge news happening in the universe kind of thing. And so then we found ourselves like here, and turned out that all of these people who were there because they wanted to see the solar eclipse, because this was one of like the best peaks,
the big ones.
And so people came and had like special goggles. Like, there were a bunch of photographers. I mean, like, it was wild. And then there was me and my boyfriend at the time, just like, da 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 da. We had no idea. Like, what a happy circumstance. We just, wow. We're just going to get caught up in this stuff. And it was just wild.
The energy, too.
Yeah. Turned out we had this beautiful view on a mountaintop of the solar eclipse. We're like also riding down, you know, while it's still happening. And so there's people just like looking out with their glasses and stuff. And then people are so nice because you had to pay like, you know, I don't know, like, excuse me. We're not swearing on this podcast. Bleep that out.
You know what? Here's the thing. We're not swearing on this podcast.
But I have a potty mouth, and so like you just can bleep it out sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but I remember you had to pay a lot for those glasses, and then by the time we got there, of course they were sold out everywhere. But like they were selling them for months in gas stations, and you could order them and blah blah blah. So we couldn't find them anywhere. But of course, we're riding down after we're all up there on the mountaintop, just walking around, and just people are just pouring out with kindness and love. And are like walking around the train waving their glasses like, hey, does anybody want to borrow my glasses? Like, did you guys get to look? And did you guys get to look at it? Here. It's so cool. Like, here, yeah, take those. Oh, make sure you pass them over there too. And people are just like passing around their stuff. And there was a couple we sat next to who had traveled there too, and they were using some sort of like paper plate technique. So like, you know, they were just experimenting with different stuff. So they were
a hole in a paper plate.
Yes, exactly. So they were sitting there and they would pass us their stuff too. And they're like, here, look at it through this. And so we get to look. And so it was just, that was seriously one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in my life.
People,
it really was.
I want to live in that world though, where it's like, hey, here's my extra thing I'm done using. Who needs it? Much love. High five. Go experience that cool thing for yourself. Cause now I'm on my way on my own journey.
Yeah.
Just, that's really nice, Morgan.
It was an amazing moment in humanity. Yeah.
I'm excited for this podcast because even though I know stories of things that you've done and been, now it's like, ooh, dig into the details. Tell me about the paper plate project that those...
Right? I know. Oh my gosh, great. You've never heard that story?
No, I never heard that story. See, look, we're doing it.
Look, we still have content
We
after
still
all these
have
years.
content while we've done it. Yeah, so I think that people just... You don't know about the eclipses or the solar eclipses or whatever.
Yeah.
Unless, like, I remember hearing about them in school. Mm-hmm. People would be like, oh, nerd, it's happening. Let's do it. But as an adult... Especially in like the early 2000s when social media wasn't all over the place and you didn't, see posts about everything all the time. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, there's space happening tonight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So very cool. So that is what comes to my mind with the eclipse. Yeah. And wow, I didn't know that Colorado story. That's very cool.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So that's what comes to my mind. And I always just think whenever I think of eclipse, I think of the moon. I think witchy things. I think my mind honestly just does go straight to astrology. I know we said this isn't technically...
This is not an astrology
podcast. It's not a zodiac podcast, but I mean, it is Aquarius behavior. Mm-hmm. And
I would just say accuracy is not important that stuff. To us.
No.
But it is... But we do care. We strive to provide... At least lovingly curated information.
And I think it's interesting. I'm fascinated, as you know, just in general by stories.
Yes.
And that's really again, getting back into our packet here.
Are we redirecting back to...
I'm redirecting us back in here. Get us back onto the meeting agenda at hand.
Excellent.
No, but that's coming back to what this is, because what I think of is just stories, legends, myths. I think of mythology, witches, things like that, folklore. And I love stories, and I'm very into, as you know, mythology, religion. And so that's the next segment here is myths and legends, because since you've told me what you think of with lunar eclipses, I'm going to tell you what different civilizations throughout history, a little blip of what they have thought about this. So a little bit about this too, because I'm going to also cite my sources on this podcast because here's the thing. I did not write original content because as I was looking through things, I just said, whoa, everybody's done it. And I just want to read you things. So what I found are some articles by experts and people who actually are professors of astrology and things like that. So what I'm going to do is just cite my sources first, and I've clumped them by slides. So we're going to talk about some myths and legends right now. And this is from theconversation.com, and it's from an article called Blood Moon, Lunar Eclipse Myths from Around the World. Blood Moon. And this is written by Daniel Brown, a lecturer in astronomy at Nottingham Trent University. So these are all little excerpts from his article.
I thank you for doing the Google search on Blood Moon for me and just reporting back. That's really this found content.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do this Google search or this research. So thank you for bringing this to the friendship bubble.
Yes.
Because this is all information that I am ready to eat up with my ears.
Yeah. It's basically, this is just a compilation of, everything that's on the internet.
This is just a verbal version of the internet with our commentary.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I did also bring my reading lamp.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I wanted to make sure that I had enough light. So I'm going to set myself up here so I can read you some stories.
Yeah, stick that there, and then your levels are still good.
Yeah, levels are still good. Oh my gosh, great. All right. So, Samantha. Our first one is Ancient Civilizations, Inca. Do you know anything about the Inca?
I don't know anything about the Inca.
Great. I don't either. Not something I'm familiar with, which is why I put them in here because I thought this was interesting. Okay, Samantha. So this first little blip is about ancient civilizations, the Inca. Do you know anything about Inca culture, the civilization?
It's like I looked at an Aztec trifold presentation in 4th grade once, looked at some pictures, maybe have seen some documentaries, but no.
I'm also not familiar, so this was fascinating for me. All right, so the ancient Inca people interpreted the deep red coloring as a jaguar attacking and eating the moon. They believed that the jaguar might then turn its attention to Earth. So the people would shout, shake their spears, and make their dogs bark and howl, hoping to make enough noise to drive the jaguar away.
Oh, I love it.
So that sounds like a ritual to me, a bit
cool.
witchy. I'm into it. How about Mesopotamia? Samantha, do you know anything about Mesopotamia?
That's one of those topics where I'm like, this sounds like a trap.
I've heard that word. We definitely saw that word and read it when we visited the Smithsonian's.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
For sure we did, but that didn't stick.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this ancient civilization story about Mesopotamia and how they feel about Blood Moon? Is this going to be new for you?
This is new information.
Great, me too. Here we go. In ancient Mesopotamia, a lunar eclipse was considered a direct assault on the king. Given their ability to predict an eclipse with reasonable accuracy, they would put in a proxy king for its duration. Someone considered to be expendable, it was not a popular job, would pose as the monarch, while the real king would go into hiding and wait for the eclipse to pass. The proxy king would then conveniently disappear, and the old king would be reinstated. That's spooky.
That's some shenanigans right there. Yeah.
It's very Man in the Iron Mask. You know, do they just keep all of these lookalike kings in a dungeon or something? Yeah. And they're like, all right, it's the blood moon.
Here's your 364 day of the year where you're hanging out, and now you get to go outside and be the king for a day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
Okay, do we know what year Mesopotamia was? Is that for the research for me to take notes on?
That is definitely, if somebody is listening and knows, please put that in the comments. Because we're not experts here. Mm-hmm. This is a learning podcast. So just FYI, this is also some of this going to be new information for me because I found articles and I read a couple paragraphs and then said, yep, this is what I'm looking for. And then I would just copy and paste everything. So some of this might also be new for us. So yeah.
If it's new for you, if you're liking it, if you're not liking it, if you have feelings about Mesopotamia.
Did you hear that car?
Oh, yeah. No, cars are for sure going by. But if you have any feelings about any of the things, we want to hear them. Do you have a best friend? We want to hear about it. AquariusBehavior.pod@gmail.com. Tell us about how we're doing and your feelings about Mesopotamia.
Yes. So, Hindu folk tales.
Ooh, we're just jumping around the world.
We are.
There's so many things that I appreciate about just world culture and, wow, all the cool things that people in different times, places, journeys. Okay, sorry. I'm really stoked on this. It's 4:30 in the morning and I'm just so stoked on this. Keep going.
I'm so glad. So, some Hindu folk tales interpret lunar eclipses as the result of the demon Rahu drinking the elixir of immortality. Twin deities, the sun and moon, promptly decapitate Rahu. But having consumed the elixir, Rahu's head remains immortal.
Oh, I'm going to stop you. I feel like if you think about, go back to that one movie. I think, is it Rahu or Rao? Is it Rao?
Maybe.
Because, okay.
Probably. I did not look up the pronunciation.
And you know what? That's fine. But no, as soon as you said Hindu, I was just like, ooh, okay. No. We're stepping away from the podcast because I just need to remember the name of this movie. It's The Secret Princess.
The Little Princess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A Little Princess.
So I think that all the stories that they tell and everything, they're talking about Rama. They're talking about, and I think that, so I don't know if it's Rahu or Rao or Ra, but I just want to say, this is not a pronunciation podcast.
No.
And so
I didn't look up pronunciation.
No.
I'm learning this by reading. And,
if you know how to say things about Rahu.
Yeah.
If it's Rahu, tell us we're doing a good job. If it's not, what is it?
Please
give us a link.
Teach us how to say that.
Teach me a thing.
I'll read the last two sentences using your pronunciation.
Here's the thing, though.
What was the one you said?
No, I like Rahu. I think that Rahu, what's
the one you said so that we can get both of them and people can tell us? Rao. Okay. I'm going to try it in that one too. And then somebody please tell us what is right. Please correct me and tell me which one is better.
You know what? Feeling comfortable with uncertainty and not knowing the answer. This is a not knowing the answer podcast.
I'm not out there to be offensive. I'm here to learn. That's right. And I'm here to be curious.
That's right.
Please teach me. Please take me to school, someone.
Cheers.
So, seeking revenge, Rao's head chases the sun and moon to devour them. If he catches them, we have an eclipse. Rao swallows the moon, which reappears out of his severed neck.
That's tight.
I know. This tight.
Swallows the moon
took an elixir of immortality. Like, this was one of my favorite stories I read because I'd never heard this story before. I mean, that's metal, man.
That is metal. It swallows the moon and it reappears out of his severed neck. Mm-hmm. It's also like, this is the, tales we tell our children. Like, don't worry about it. It's just the moon coming out of his severed neck. It's fine. It's fine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. So our next one, though, Christian prophecy.
I'm sorry. Severed neck is just really sticking with me. I like that one.
Oh, yeah. So also
art. Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're getting more doomy. So I don't know if you also noticed, but we're getting a little bit more doomy. Like, so now we're going to go to Christian prophecy, which is also just very doomy, of course. Returning once more to blood, Christianity has equated lunar eclipses with the wrath of God and often associates them with the crucifixion of Jesus. Yep.
I mean, we're getting right into it. That's right. Blood moon.
Yeah. It is notable that Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon of spring, ensuring that an eclipse can never fall on Easter Sunday, a potential mark of Judgment Day. So there is actually a quote in the book of Joel. And I put this in here because it's specifically from the Bible that says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord." So basically, in the Christian Bible, the blood moon or like a red moon is basically just a sign of the end times. So could we be any spookier? I don't think so.
Well, and it's real smart that it's like, okay, first Sunday after the moon of spring so that an eclipse will never fall on Easter Sunday.
Because that would just be way too spooky.
It'd be too much.
Because literally Judgment Day, again, in the Christian prophecy, is that Jesus comes back to earth again and is like, "What up? I'm back. What up?" So, yeah. The Christian prophecy, that's just something. I also saved that one for last, I guess, because for me, that's the one that I'm most familiar with. Like, my fiance grew up Lutheran. I grew up Methodist. Two pretty strict religion, denominations of Christianity. So we grew up definitely with a lot of like the sin and the brimstone
and the judgment the sun being turned into
There's
darkness.
A lot of that. It's so like very dark.
But it's also cool that you have that corner of knowledge because it all ties into, the vibes,
this is what I'm telling you.
The tie-in with
folklore.
Religion. Yes, folklore, occult.
Stories.
It's so interesting.
Yes. Okay, so there's a picture next. Does this picture look familiar?
Yeah,
to
so
you? Does the style look familiar?
Because you know that this is a art podcast. So
it can be, why not?
I'm going to say that we are in the realm of Renaissance. The Botticelli-esque bodies.
Whoa, Botticelli. Look at you just throwing that out
Here's
there.
the thing. That was the only artist that I actually did a report on in high school.
Art class in
I did
college too?
Humanities in high school.
Well, dang,
and
girl.
Mine was Venus Botticelli. But it was the showing muscles, a lot of people hanging out in clouds in this situation.
Yeah.
I want to say, I don't know if it's correct. Is it called the Garden of Earthly Delights? That's the only thing that came to my head. But this looks like a depiction of just a lot of people hanging out.
Yeah.
Having a time. It doesn't look bad at the bottom.
Totes.
But I might have to squint to the top to really check out what's going on.
Yeah, but a little rough. Okay.
It looks a little rough.
Yeah. So this is the Judgment, which is part of the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. And so this is showing the Judgment Day or the end times. And so basically it's showing Jesus in the middle and he's come back to earth and
dude's got abs.
Some people are coming up up. Oh yeah, he's definitely ripped. Like,
I love it.
There's a gym in heaven because you see everybody up there and they're all just like taking care of themselves. Pleasure City up there.
While this is ABPOD, it's not ABPOD.
Yeah, this is not a podcast about abs, but
so Jesus
is
hanging out
about it. So, but what I think is really interesting is that, and I don't know if this was intentional, but something I noticed is around Jesus in the middle here, you know, there's just this ring of people, and I noticed that there's just a lot of red. And that's kind of a concentrated area. And the ring, it just was reminiscent to me of maybe a crimson or a blood ring, blood moon.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, conspiracy, intentional. Who knows?
Definitely intentional and definitely a conspiracy.
Yeah.
No, it's the use of dark. And this is an art commentary podcast. The use of darkness up near the top. And like, I feel like I keep on squinting to see like what's in the background, what's in the shadows, what's hidden in the shadows behind.
Like, what is there?
What is it? Yeah. Just, religious Christian art is just so interesting to squint at because there's just, it's like a Where's Waldo, but it's just a lot of white people.
It is. Yeah. It's just a lot of white people. It's very true. Good golly. But, you know, as you know, I also do love Renaissance art.
Yeah.
And so I watch a lot of documentaries and crap on that. I never took a class in college on it. But, you know, we've all made mistakes. But we will definitely have podcasts where I'm going to have to geek out and talk about art. And like, we'll just learn things because fascinating. But today's not that day. No, I just had to bring that one thing up because I was like, that just looks a little intentional. Or is it not? And I'm just grasping at straws, but I think it is.
I feel like Michelangelo was just laying up there at the Sistine Chapel. Like, what other crap can I put in this back here?
What
other secrets?
I mean, brilliant. Okay, I could just talk about that all.
Let's put a pin in art.
Literal, an entire podcast because it's amazing. And I can't even. The primitive tools they had at that time. No, I can't. No, we can't even. No,
put a pin in it.
I can't. Put a pin in that, Samantha.
Editing, Samantha. Put a pin in it.
I've got like, we're not even like halfway through my packet. Okay.
Oh my gosh. This is the best. I'm having such a nice time. I'm having
I'm so glad.
I am having such a nice time.
Hey, you know what? I need more coffee. Can we pause so I can get another cup?
Let's do.
Thank you. And
okay,
also,
so
I want to see if we can find the moon. It is 4:45. It is 53 degrees at our table.
Wow.
Ooh, the wind has picked up. So, you know, we got to see the very beginning, which was very fun. And now it's been cloudy for probably the last 45 minutes. So we haven't seen anything.
But we know it's there.
We know it's there.
We know it's there and it's just fine.
This is typical. So anyways, but Samantha, I still have really fun stories for you. So we can still be out here. We're in the candlelight. I just saw somebody jogging out there at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
What's the temperature right now?
Oh my gosh. 53 degrees at our table.
Wow.
Which means it's a little chillier out there because we have, 6 times 3 flames, tiny flames at our table. You do the math. But yeah, no, I'm feeling delightful with I got a fresh mocha. Boop, 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 boop. My homemade mocha. What's in your cup?
Yeah, we got a nice little cinnamon mocha blend going on. And it's just really lovely. Really hitting the spot right now.
That's delightful. And I think so. I'm rocking a giant goblet that I got from the Renaissance Fair a few years ago. It's just a big tree stump cup. And I'm pretty sure this is like maybe 2 cups of coffee or a cup and a half.
You say it's a cup of coffee, but really it's 1.75 cups of coffee.
I'm going to be very, very caffeinated. Oh, and I'm spilling it everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Continuously.
Well,
we can't do anything about it right now.
It'll just soak into the table. We're not worried about it.
I can't do anything about it right now. Oh, I have some Kleenex. I'm gonna dab it.
Dab.
I also spilled all over my shirt earlier, which I didn't tell you about, but it definitely happened. Oh yeah, like it's
christening.
I've spilled this everywhere. So yeah, I'm sorry. This coffee spilled on your table.
Well, it can just go right next to all of the candle wax that Eric and I spilled when we were first breaking in the table for summer activities and outside. Like, yeah, we lit a bunch of citronella candles and everything. And then we were cleaning up at the end of the evening, and it was just a quick turn to the right with the candle in our hand, and it was just all over the table. So
just like, oh, boom, 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 boom.
Yep, it sure was.
Okay. I'm sorry if that stains, and then it'll be a memory.
Ooh. It's Aquarius behavior.
Of my shame.
No, let's Grace.
Thank you for your grace,
Morgan.
Oh, thank you.
Just a truckload. Just backing that dump truck up onto this deck. Beep, beep, beep. Grace.
Beep, beep.
Amazing. Okay, so we were talking about Christian prophecy.
We
and
were.
Also that beautiful painting.
But now we're done with that because that's
boom.
Depressing. Let's be real.
All right, move on. We don't need to talk about Judgment Day anymore.
Also, the book of Joel, shortest book in the Bible, by the way. It's like super duper tiny. Freaking page and a half.
Is it really?
Oh, it's so small.
The book of Joel.
The book of Joel. Joel. No, I'm not going to sing that. Edit that out. That'll make him mad. Biggest pet peeve. Okay. So, all right. So moving on though. So here's the real question. Here's what we're all wondering, right? Do lunar eclipses affect human behavior? Do they? Because you and I were talking about what a weird week this has been.
It's
been
a weird
2 weeks, really?
I mean, yeah.
Because we're going to get into it, okay? And mind you, this is like continuing with this article, right? So, many people believe that the full moon affects human behavior and psychology. The Latin name for moon, luna, is the root of modern words like lunacy, lunatic, and even loon, as in crazy as a loon.
Crazy.
First of all of those words are triggering for me as somebody with some mental health awareness.
Awareness, yes.
And rude. We don't use the L word here.
I love that. Crazy as a loon.
Yeah, right? I mean, I know loony.
But Luna,
Looney Tunes.
the Latin, the root. That's so cool.
The root. Yeah.
The root of the word.
So as you will see, fact below, right? Science says that no. Science apparently says that no clear statistical evidence of a full moon affecting human behavior. Yet this belief about the moon persists. Nurses and hospital staff will often claim that they also see more visits during a full moon. Sometimes there is no explanation.
I have opinions.
Yeah, what do you think about that, dude?
As let me put my previous...
Hang on, I'm going to sit back with my coffee. Yeah. Dazzle me, please, Morgan, with your opinions.
Let me perform for you. Back in my years in my previous career, working with kids elementary age, summer programs, school year programs, it's like me and my staff knew when there was a full moon coming on or when there was some sort of something. It's like, why are the kids tornadoes? And then we would look and say, oh, haha, it's a full moon. I do think that the moon with the pull and the push of gravity and the waves and the waves and the flows and the bits, you know, Morgan. I truly think that it has a effect on human behavior, and perhaps children are more susceptible to moon energy. I don't know. Put a pin in that for further research. But I've always felt like you can tell. You can tell when the energy's off or the energy's different or the energy's chaotic. Mm-hmm. And it's the moon's fault.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Science says no.
But no. And here's the thing. But science is ever changing and evolving.
Ooh.
You know?
Correct.
And that's like, you look at theoretical science. And so here's the thing. And here's why I started with mythology and stuff, because I'll be real, dude. Like, I do believe in that. I just think, like, why not? You know? And so, yeah, I'm not a hardcore astrologist. I'm not going to, like, bet my life on everything. But there's definitely things that I feel that I can't quite explain.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Like, there are things that I feel, there are stories I've heard, there are things I've encountered in the world that I can't quite explain. Yeah, there's just feelings and there's intuition. And it's like, well, what is that? We can't really explain that.
Mm-hmm. And why does science say that we can't have that thing? I want that thing.
And
that thing makes me curious.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, science in itself is curiosity. Science is built of hypotheses and tests and data. Mm-hmm. And so it's fair to say that, hey, right now, statistically, data shows there's not actually anything different. Like, you know, we see a correlation. Okay, so this is, you know how, like, we both have psych degrees? Remember, like, when you had to take...
Hold on.
Okay.
There needs to be an asterisk, like, next to mine.
Dude.
Big time.
Dude. Like, remember when we did that? And, like, now we don't use our psychology degrees?
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
but, like,
yes.
Did you have to take an analytics course in college?
Yes, it was called...
Yeah. Like, you had to take
statistical...
stats. Yep.
Statistical writing or some course
Yeah.
I'd right out of.
Okay. Yes. So, like, I had to do that. And, like, there was definitely, like, I had to take a couple research courses too. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, during that, I mean, that is, you know, the science I did, which, you know, there are people who argue that, you know, psychology is not a science, but I believe it is a science because it is based upon the principles of hypotheses and tests, you know, and in fact, I think it's a more difficult science because we're dealing with humans. And it's interesting because humans, unlike a lot of other scientific subjects like outer space or the ocean, we have the ability to make decisions, and we have
the other scientific subjects like space and the ocean. Keep going,
because those are that those are the top two priorities on my list. I literally just those are the top
beautiful
3 things in science that I follow and truly care about.
But humans are ever changing and evolving, and so yes. You beautiful sunflower.
It's also voting day. And so I've been looking at a lot of election stuff, as you know. And so I want to know why nobody is talking about space or the oceans.
Yes.
On this year's ballot.
Yeah.
I want to know why the candidates aren't more focused on that.
Yep.
I want to know why everyone is so focused on women's bodies, but no one is talking about space and the ocean.
It's like they forgot they were there. The two most abundant
because that's
things,
what I'm interested in.
The two most abundant things in the universe is space and the ocean. Someone prove me wrong.
And the moon.
AquariusBehavior.pod.
These are the 3 things that I want. This is what really leans my vote, okay?
Yeah.
So politicians out there, if you want my vote,
that's right.
You got to tell me what you're going to do about the moon, space, and the oceans.
That's the only platform we care about here on Aquarius Behavior.
Not the only ones, but they're probably some of the most important.
Only
highest ranking. Anyways, okay. We can't talk about politics. This is not a political podcast, and I refuse to talk about that because
we're not talking about politics.
I will be too triggered.
But I want to know, Morgan, you bring up a good point. Why is space and the ocean and the moon not on the ballot? Very important things that affect the human body. And the abundant mysteries that are out there and involved, which is what I'm interested in. And that's also why I was so excited when you said, hey, do you want to stay up really late / wake up really early and watch the lunar eclipse? It's like, oh yeah, today's already especially haunted because it's election day. So why not wake up crazy early and do it to 'em?
Or just never go to bed.
Or never go to bed.
That too. Yeah. So like, dude, but that's like how
science
I feel.
says no. But we say yes. Is
but science, I mean, like a lot of science also says no. You know, there's a lot of theoretical science out there. I'm also diving into topics that we will definitely talk more about later because these are the things that I stay up late thinking about or
don't go to bed about.
You know, I get sucked into holes on the internet and I'm like, hey, yeah.
I gotta tell some man.
What? Space? Anyways, okay. But so we're going to talk about that. So...
And tune in next week for the epic conclusion.